Whenever a person first begins learning programming, they will typically decide to choose web development, app development, or even automation. But there is one specific and fascinating area that, in my humble opinion, can teach you a great deal about programming: game development. And today, I want to explain exactly why programming games can be one of the most effective and rewarding ways to grow as a professional programmer. At the beginning of college, I started programming websites. Then I moved on to management systems. But during that specific time in my life, I vividly remember loving to play games like Hotline Miami and Broforce. That is exactly why I first started programming games, simply because I found certain titles to be absolutely fascinating. But as time went on, I eventually realized that the process of creating games forced me to learn many things that I probably would never have encountered or learned in any other areas of study. And that fundamentally transformed the way I perceive programming. Game development forces you to solve incredibly complex and multifaceted challenges. When you create a game, you're not just solving one specific type of problem. You have to simultaneously deal with character movement, complex physics, intricate gameplay logic, artificial intelligence, and precise collisions. Many software systems follow well-established and familiar patterns and are often somewhat repetitive in their core functionality. Think about it. If you program management systems or websites, you've surely noticed that the vast majority of the tasks you perform are almost always the same. But in games, most of the time, you need to innovate and engineer entirely unique solutions. Each project presents a challenge that's quite different from the others. How does an enemy behave? How does a boss attack? How does the player interact with the world? This trains algorithmic thinking. In game development, there is a lot more creative freedom. When you create an app, there is usually a very specific and well-defined goal. But in games, your own imagination is the only real limit. You can create entirely new worlds, mechanics, and experiences. This approach makes the process much more creative. Normally, we create websites or apps that are important or that are designed to solve a specific practical problem. In the world of games, this particular functional aspect doesn't really exist. You can create a game about absolutely anything, from the most serious thing to the most ridiculous possible. And this for sure gives a lot of room for creativity and growth. And note that it is frequently the case that websites that have a certain element of fun are known as gamified websites. And as a bonus to all of this, you'll notice that what you learn from developing games can be easily applied both logically and technically to almost any other area of programming. And the opposite is simply not the case in the other direction. This doesn't mean that game development is the absolute best or most superior field of all. There are incredibly intricate web systems, remarkable and innovative applications, and I say this as someone who has already worked in various other areas. But if your primary goal is to grow as a programmer and solve difficult problems, exercise your creative potential and significantly expand your knowledge. The field of game development can be one of the most truly fascinating areas to explore. And right from the start, let me say that if you enjoy the content of this video, I ask that you subscribe, leave a comment, and click like so that YouTube can recommend the video to more people. This channel is brand new, and every single click from you will definitely help boost the channel.